All right, we are good to go. We are all set. Good morning, everybody. Welcome to another Engineering the Markets. My name is Jared. It is September 30th, 2021. So happy last day of September. Remember that we have a 30-day month and we're looking at a completion of a full month of trading. September has obviously been one for the record books in regards to some of the downside. We simply look at our SPX and we'll start off here just with the index. We just want to note that we do have a fairly poor monthly close unless we get something significant today to sort of bring us back above last month's close. And ultimately, we're setting up a larger engulfing structure on the monthly after a period of multiple months of higher highs and higher lows. It's notable that this is our first monthly candle that may set up for monthly consolidation. The idea that we haven't really consolidated on the monthly time frame in about 10 months. Similarly, as we bring it to our weekly, we just want to note that we are back at the 20-period moving average. It's been a while since we've tested this before as well, back in time when the election was ongoing. And we've had a couple of close pullback retracements to this area, but ultimately the market is struggling to achieve a bounce from this spot. And it's just worth noting that with our monthly consolidation very likely, given that we have 1 day left to recover or potentially sell off further, and the fact that we are a bit extended on the market, even with some of this downside that we've been seeing, just noting where we are and location-wise and starting to put a game plan together for October, which may or may not see additional downside depending on some of the larger economic changes that we've been seeing. As we shift into a shorter time frame, it's also worth noting that the SPX continues to trade near its lower end of its expected move on the week. We went ahead and marked these levels prior to the market open on Monday and talking through some different scenarios based on the fact that we had volatility contraction from the prior week. But what we were seeing from Monday to Tuesday and even from earlier in the week to now, volatility has not really let up in the market. One way to see that is simply to look at the same option chain and look at the expected move, even though we've already passed through, even though we've already passed through 3 trading sessions, the marketplace is still pricing at about a $51 expected move on the SPX. So it goes to show that while we've seen downside action and while we've seen the market correct in a lot of different areas, volatility is not contracting with that correction. Usually to find some more significant lows, you often want to see volatility sort of roll down. And ultimately we can see that on Friday, but what we're not really seeing is it occur intra-week. So as we are teetering on this expected move, just know that the most likely scenario is that we are going to close somewhere between the upper and lower bounds. But in the case of a larger volatility event, often we will see moves that are much more significant to a breach of the upside or the downside. We usually want to call these things like 2 or 3 sigma-based moves. And the market, for the most part, is willing to give those moves when fear or uncertainty or even some sort of larger correction takes place. For example, when the election results were announced, there was actually a 2.5 sigma move to the upside on that week, even though the volatility was trying to account for the uncertainty of the election results themselves. So it just goes to show the propensity of movement for the market and the fact that we're testing this area throughout the week. Additionally, from a more technical sense, we can see as we shift over into our SPY that some of our scenarios have played out in regards to some potential for the market to do X or Y. We've gotten our recovery bounce back to resistance. Ultimately, if you were looking to hedge or short the market, you wanted to wait for this area to be tested, as it is providing sort of that downtrending resistance and that upper supply zone that the market has yet to breach. We also see that our moving averages are starting to be at risk of crossing. Ultimately, if this does occur, that can provide additional downside momentum, especially when the market has been set up in such a poor bullish structure. You can see here that we had more selling occur this week, and we're even setting up some form of 3 to 4 bar play. The idea being that if we breach this low, and ultimately on shorter time frames, if we breach this area, then we essentially have a bear flag that is trying to confirm bearish. Bulls have proven very little this past week. We have not seen large bounces occur yet. And ultimately, intraday, there's been some key levels that have been giving a lot of good play. I would argue that 435 seems to be a fairly large inflection point for the market. We can load up something like volume profile over the past couple of days and see that some of the largest volume and transactions have occurred at about 435. You can see that here with the larger volume shelf inside of the most recent price action. If you zoom in closer intraday, there's also some shorter term levels. About 433.80 to the downside has often acted as a risk level for the market. And even the expected move, as I shift back over to the SPX, you can see how clear this upper area of risk is sort of holding the market down. Essentially, the volatility can find ways to contract if we were to reclaim this area. But if we do not, then dynamic hedging or ultimately additional risk of downside movement has to be placed in the market, and that may facilitate larger selling, especially into the last 2 days of this week. So just some things to note. A lot of our main selling has been occurring in the Nasdaq. As I switch back over just to a general overview, we can see that the Nasdaq is leading the selling pressure in this market. We've obviously seen the same recovery bounce, but ultimately the recovery bounce was not as significant and not as strong. We also came back into resistance, and ultimately the selling pressure has led to a close below the Monday low from last week. We're seeing that additional weakness occur in the fact that bulls can't even defend in regards to a higher low or some sort of range-based trading in this area. Now, as we've discussed, a large portion of some of this weakness may be facilitated by what we're seeing in the bond market. I guess for the shorter time frame, just the cues here, very similar. Look to the SPY, but you can see relative weakness. We're not building up a support trend line. We're simply riding this lower bound of the cues. And ultimately, one of the things I want to keep reiterating here is that if I pull it up to a larger time frame, we are at the 20 on the weekly. The cues have not yet lost the 20 since the moment that we've begun trending in this market, but the downside risk still may occur in the form of some sort of bottoming tail inside of the weekly. Essentially, a little bit of additional selling may be needed to sort of capitulate and basically clear out any downside liquidity before seeing any sort of recovery bounce. Not necessarily for all-time highs, but if we're just looking at this channel structure, this has been where stronger buying has occurred. We've set the highs and lows. We've retested lows, tested highs, tested lows, lows to highs, channel-based trading, ultimately in a bullish channel, but showcasing that the downside may still be present. And until we get to this lower channel, we'll sort of evaluate what the strength of the bulls comes into the market. What strength of the bulls, I should say. Now, I've talked about bonds a few times and the fact that after the FOMC meeting, we got a large selling event inside of the bond market. That has obviously brought interest rates higher. And not only have they shot up, but they shot up aggressively. It's essentially a straight line from when that event occurred into where we are now. When we look at the TLT, just more from the technical side, we see that not only has the TLT sort of fallen through the lower end of this range support, but we're also seeing the potential for a back test. The idea here is that if we truly are done with this upper range, if the fact that these prices are no longer accepted in this market as being fair, then market participants are starting to look for lower or potentially deeper value inside of bonds, basically selling pressure and looking for downside targets. One area I would consider is, of course, our last trading range, and that was approximately this high here, about 141 inside of TLT. Additionally, if that back test continues to sort of chop or set up additional bearish structures, the interest rates may stabilize during that time. But what that means is that we may see a bit of choppier price action in the market as participants are trying to anticipate the next move of both the bond market and things like tech. We want to counter that idea with the fact that the IWM, or some of our inflationary and cyclical stocks, have actually been performing fairly well during all of this volatility. Now, it's all perceived relative to sort of an anchor point of when did the selling start and when has the volatility really kicked up in this market. So we could anchor it from that Monday low last week, the fact that the market gapped down, had a lot of high volatility and a lot of volume sort of trying to set a low in different areas. And if you recall, we have three indexes. The Nasdaq, which has already tested this lower bound and is at risk of selling off even further. The SPY, which is sort of 50-50, much more blended and much more diversified than the Nasdaq, seeing some relative strength in certain areas and relative weakness in others. Tech, of course, leading to a lot of that selling pressure. And then we have the IWM. If you'll note, the IWM has not only recovered very strongly from the initial low, clearing the area of potential supply that the market formed in the SPY and the Qs, but additionally, as we start to pull back, we're trying to reclaim our 200-day moving average. This was a stronger reactionary point during selling pressure of the IWM. And while the entire market was at risk of sort of a full correlated sell-off, the IWM has recovered much better from a technical sense than some of these other markets. Additionally, on a longer time frame, we could start to look at whether or not the IWM can clear this upper bound, and ultimately still looking for the IWM to breach this range at some point, simply not knowing which direction to choose. But ultimately, if the IWM is going to outperform, and if the market does recover in a bullish sense, we would expect the IWM to actually test the high side resistance and ultimately to set up for another bullish run. Now, I guess last but not least, the Dow. As we shift into the Dow, just going into that same repetitive approach of where we've come from, what has the bounce reaction been? The Dow is back testing its trend line that has been formed throughout this trading range. We also see moving averages starting to cross, and we're seeing that same selling setup, but the bounce recovery has been more significant, which means the low that may have been set here on Tuesday session has held at this time. And I often find that with the Dow, because it's composed of certain stocks which hold higher weights relative to their share price, you often want to be careful evaluating the Dow relative to whether those stocks are in strong sectors for the market conditions. Stocks like Goldman Sachs was one that we brought up as a possible risk for the Dow. The idea being that Goldman Sachs, while still a financial stock, has put up larger bearish structures, basically rejecting range and still rejecting a return back into the range with additional selling. Along with our healthcare sector, and UNH is going to be that other high flyer type stock in the Dow. Healthcare so far has been having trouble basically bouncing from its highs. If we look at XLV, we can see that the healthcare sector has been selling for quite a while. And even more notable, it's made a new low relative to the past couple of days of selling. So struggling to basically form a base of support and even to test its upper resistance. We actually tested it on the recovery bounce from Monday, and now we're seeing 3 days of selling pressure. Yesterday, of course, with a bit of an inside bar. So there certainly is selling pressure across the market. I would say arguably tech and growth has been leading the way, but in the sense of market capitalization and the fact that healthcare is a big sector of the SPY, healthcare has also been providing that downside pressure. Our main sector that can counter some of that and basically lead to a bit of range trading or ultimately set the stage for maybe a recovery bounce is going to be financials. Essentially, with bonds selling off and with interest rates rising, we expect financials to sort of carry us forward if this continues. And that's certainly true with the same approach here, that low being set on Monday, a full retracement back to resistance highs, and now a pullback. The idea here is that if it's going to continue, we need to see this essentially break out to the bull side, setting up maybe a cup and handle structure in the next couple of days. Now, all that said, there's been a lot of volatility from not only the bond market, but we have another risk area in the market that has already started to confirm its breakout. And that's, of course, the dollar. Now, when we see dollar strength in the market, it's not necessarily an all sell type of signal, but it certainly does provide pressure across multiple asset classes. The idea here is that with a strong dollar, we may be seeing both global weakness. Other countries may be moving away from their respective currency and getting into more protective dollar positions. We also may be seeing just a move away from riskier assets. The idea that commodities and equities are fairly risk on across larger components of different asset classes, and things like bonds, the dollar, sometimes metals are often considered a bit more risk off. They're trying to essentially store value and be a little bit more defensive. But to me, I find this dynamic to be a bit more complex than just yes or no binary equities versus risk off asset classes. Instead, I'm looking at the correlations between all of these different products. And with the dollar strength that we're seeing, this is putting pressure on things like commodities. It's putting pressure on metals. If you've looked at gold or silver in the past couple of sessions, you've seen not only continuation selling pressure, but in the fact of silver, we've actually seen some gap down lows and breaches of major support. For example, this support here has been established essentially since last year. And no matter how I anchor this line, we're seeing closure below, potentially on the weekly if we hold down here. So there is a lot of selling pressure in relation to these correlations. And ultimately, knowing which assets are going to hit the hardest is often based around those different correlations aligning at the same time. Now, one thing we discussed inside of the Bear Bull chat room was how to sort of visualize this in a very general sense. And I went ahead and constructed something that I've seen from other groups, but it essentially puts together just a spreadsheet of some of those correlations and ultimately the different relationships that can occur depending on whether the assets are bullish or bearish. And before we get into this, just a quick notation of what's going on here. I've gone ahead and marked the percentage sign as yields, basically for the purposes of what we evaluate, something like the 10-year. And this is going to be opposite, of course, of what bonds are doing. So yields are currently rising. Therefore, that would indicate the up arrow sections of yields. I've also got the dollar. So if the dollar is rising, we're seeing essentially at that time frame a bit of a rush to cash. And specifically from a global perspective, other countries are also protective relative to their currency and the US dollar relationship. So when you think about these two risk-off based asset classes, bonds and the dollar, you can sort of evaluate these in 4 different sections. You either have both of them rising, both of them falling, or a mixed bag. Yields are up, dollar down, yields are down, dollar up. And of course, more so when things are moving quickly. I would argue that sometimes when there's more choppy price action, other forces are going to lead the way in terms of short-term supply and demand imbalances, technical setups, et cetera, et cetera. But larger dynamics here, and the fact that if we see continuation, this is sort of what we can expect. If you'll notice that currently we are in this condition. We are in a rising interest rate environment, and we're also in a rising dollar environment. Technically, this dollar breakout has potential back up to something like the 200-period weekly moving average, or potentially much higher from a measured move perspective. And if you scroll down, I've broken out different groups of assets based on their sort of their relevance to a particular industry. We have things like oil and energy, things like commodities, more as a global or more as a grouping of different commodities, but definitely just a generalization here. The metals, gold, silver, even industrial metals like copper and things like palladium and platinum. Tech and growth, going to be thinking things like our Nasdaq and potentially more speculative stocks with unproven or unrealized profitability from a company. And then inflationary and cyclicals, often we think of our financials and our energy sector, but keep in mind that that's highly tied to the asset of oil, natural gas, gasoline, heating oil, et cetera, along with financials and industrials or materials. Once again, very closely related to commodities. So in this current environment, we need to be understanding that we have a lot of pressure across multiple groupings of stocks. Metals are obviously having a hard time because the dollar is rising. Along with that, interest rates are rising as well, providing sort of a double negative in the sense of metal strength. Commodities, bit of a mixed bag. That's the slash sign. That's when it's sort of 50-50. And there are going to be certain groups of commodities that maybe outperform versus others. But from a larger sense, there is pressure based on these two risk-off classes starting to go up. Oil and energy, tech and growth. We know tech and growth specifically has a lot of trouble outperforming whenever interest rates are rising. So that's just that very simple: bonds going up, tech going up, bonds going down, tech going down, all tied to the interest rates. And then finally, inflationary and cyclicals. While we often look to these whenever the interest rates are rising, they actually have a bit of pressure with a rising dollar. And we're seeing some short-term pressure in things like financials whenever the dollar broke out. You'll note that the financial grouping had a large impulsive move to the upside, but actually sold back down slightly once the dollar was breaking out. You're also noting that while other cyclical areas should be performing in a high interest rate environment, our industrial sector and our materials sector has not really found much recovery. And that is often tied to that pressure with commodities and with the rising dollar environment. So this is something that I'll go ahead and organize and distribute to the Bear Bull chat room. And ultimately, it's live on YouTube, so you can just go ahead and screen cap this for resource. But look back in time and see how these relationships occur, and ultimately look and see if your trade or ultimately your setups are affected by these counter trend forces in the market. Essentially, where to focus, and ultimately understanding that this market is not in a good position from the equity side to have bullish momentum. We're seeing too much pressure from the dollar and interest rates to facilitate any group of stocks to really outperform. And most of those stocks that are outperforming, something like consumer discretionaries, it simply isn't enough to support some of the price action that we have in the SPY and specifically in the Nasdaq. There's too much selling in semiconductors. There's too much selling in our big market cap names. A lot of our major names like Microsoft and Google have actually seen downside pressure for the first time in quite a while. So allowing all of this to sort of cycle out, and basically if you're looking bullish, you either should be looking at things to recover in one of these asset classes, or starting to prepare for a condition where things are sort of in your favor. Otherwise, of course, the market is obviously in a downtrend. The SPY hasn't confirmed yet, but the Nasdaq has confirmed the daily downtrend. And we're simply in a moment of monthly consolidation. So we need to be prepared for that consolidation to occur for a while and things to sort of shape up with fear and volatility lifting from the market. So with that said, Jared, this is Engineering the Markets. Hopefully this is kind of giving just a simplified view of that relationship. And we can obviously discuss it a bit more next week as things continue. Keep an eye on the dollar and keep an eye on bonds. They're affecting our trade, they're affecting where to focus, and they're ultimately affecting market conditions. If things are to settle and ultimately move to the upside, we kind of need one of these areas to let off or to have some sort of correction against the dominant force with bonds down and the dollar's just starting to break out. So that said, we'll talk more next week. Trade safe and stay tuned for pre-market prep.
All right. Good morning, everyone. Welcome to Market Prep. I hope everyone's having an amazing morning. Hope you had a great day yesterday. Good morning, Norm. How are you doing today?
Hey, good morning, brother. I'm doing well. How are you?
Could be better. I'm feeling a little bit under the weather, but outside from
I'm
that,
sorry,
man,
man.
not bad. Not bad. Not
Yeah.
bad. Shout out to
Hope you
my wife,
feel
man.
better soon.
She's been a trooper through all this, taking care of the kids. As I am, like at night it gets pretty bad. So shout out to her for that. We all know it. Our wives are the true heroes, right? We know that
Yeah.
for sure. All right, guys, let's get to it. Let's look at. I was looking at PALT, guys, which is just incredible right now. So we'll get into that in a second. But let's look at some of the stuff we had yesterday on our list, starting with LSID. So I had only four: LSID, SoFi, MU, and Tesla. So let's look at LSID yesterday, and we'll go back here into yesterday's actions around 9:30ish or so. Again, with this one, we know how great this one can trade, guys. Yesterday's action was pretty nice, beautiful breakout here, nice continuation on LSID. We didn't get that the last couple of days, but today, I mean, yesterday it really ran up nicely here, giving us a very, very good play. Got a little top around 28.21. We did have this level on our list here on our daily, and then you see the drop off after that, heading right back to the open price here where the stock had opened up. So LSID very active this morning again. We got some volume on it, 712,000 shares traded, up 2%. So we'll be in our scanners. We had SoFi yesterday as well. Now this was my trade. This was actually I don't think I ever traded SoFi, and it was actually pretty good. Beautiful pullback on the 5 minute. I got in right around here, so not the best entry, but not bad. And we did get a little continuation here. You had to wait for this consolidation here to happen. You got another pullback. Thankfully, this thing did not get to my entry. From there, you got another push up towards the highs of the day. So I actually traded very well. It just it felt like it took a long time. If you look at the 1 minute, it was very choppy in here. It just took a while to get going. But it finally did hit 1720. Then from there, I believe that was like the highs of the pre-market, very close to it. From there, it's just collapsed all the way down to the previous day, to the VWAP, and then some more on there. You can see a beautiful short there if you look at it to take it in that direction. Here's MU, guys. MU, it was choppy open. Just didn't know what it wanted to do. It did recover very nicely, though. Again, I wasn't in this one because I was watching SoFi, but it did recover nicely. Look at this beautiful pop that it took. It took here. Outside of this one, you could have been watching Apple. I believe Brian and Thor. I know Thor for sure traded Apple. He got a beautiful entry on Apple yesterday. It did test his patience a little bit. His patience trying to get to his break entry point. But then took off from there. Was a beautiful, beautiful trade. Here's Tesla, another one that we had on deck as well. Very choppy open, guys. Did give you a push up, but the bigger move was this double top here that you got. And just look at this drop below the VWAP. And if you missed this double top because it's not perfect, right? This high is actually higher than the previous one, which I know is one of the criteria a lot of a lot of the moderators and traders do not like to see, right? We want to see this high not be higher than the previous one. But if you missed that, you had an opportunity here when they lost the VWAP. Just a beautiful loss of the VWAP. You can see this level here around 787 trying to hold. It couldn't. Breaks down. You just happen to have all the moving averages there as well. It was a beautiful short, guys, towards the low of the day. And if you got a great entry, you could have held down for a bigger piece of the move if you were patient with this one. So that was Tesla, definitely in play yesterday. And as I mentioned, Apple was also pretty nice. We saw a lot of great trades here at the market open to kind of bull flag building there and a nice takeoff on Apple yesterday. So that is what we had on our list, guys. Let's go over to the market polls. Norm, what's happening overall this morning? Norm, you're on mute.
Sorry. Jared went over all of it in depth like he does every Monday through Thursday. So thank you, Jared. But, just SPY sitting right here, right above the 20 on the weekly. So we'll see how that does. We just had initial jobless claims, continuing claims come out a little bit weaker than expected. And PMI was roughly in line from my understanding. Fed speakers scattered throughout the day. The most important of them, probably Jay Powell, 10 a.m., second day of congressional testimony. So that's
Those
what
are
we got.
those are always fun, that's for sure. So we'll see what comes out of that today. All right, guys, so let's get to it. Let's see what we have here on our gappers list this morning. My desk is getting moving all over the place here. See what's happening on our gappers list. Take a look. So far, a lot in the green this morning. A couple of low floats on here. We have a few in the red. I like Coast today. Coast tends to trade a little bit cleaner out of all these retail type companies. Coast is one of them that I do like to trade. So we have them on deck here, down 7.8 this morning. So we'll get into that. Let's take a look at what's in the green area today, starting with PALT. I was looking at this earlier because this thing started to really get going, guys. Volume right now, 4.7 million shares traded. It is up 20%. Had a big day yesterday as well. Let's get our Epic Pen here. If you're looking for a great tool to use, if you're a teacher, if you're doing presentations on a computer, Epic Pen, guys, free. It's completely free. I did pay the $20 to support them because I like supporting apps that actually that work well. Let's see if it loads here. So again, $20, you get the premium, you get a couple of more features, but again, it's a really nice tool. So if you're wondering what we're using here, this is an amazing tool to have. So right here, guys, we do have, again, big day yesterday for them. They went from $5 all the way to 15. Today, they're looking to continue the madness, already up 20%, 4.7. That is looking very good. Guys, low flow stock. We're going to add this bad boy over to our low flow pile right over here. That is PALT, looking good. So we rarely focus on low flow stocks, right, Norm?
Yeah.
But this one looks very good.
Why'd you ask me?
Oh, because I know you're the low flow king. Where's that GIF? Do we have that GIF? Somebody needs to send me that so I can put a hotkey button on it, like I have.
I didn't even know that. I didn't know there was a GIF. I thought it was just a picture. Oh, okay. I'll have to check it out. Hey, Stephanie. So I'll answer that question real quick. Yeah, go to my screen. You can pick mine if you want to see the gappers list. There's gappers on the screen. Unfortunately, we're having an issue with Peter's trade ideas. So, or the trade ideas we usually use for the scanners page. We'll get it fixed later, but for now, you can check that out with gappers on mine.
Absolutely. Jonathan Silvers Trading, thank you so much for the $5 donation there. Appreciate it very much. Good morning, guys. Cannot join every day, so here's some money for the charity. I appreciate that very much.
Yeah, this is the last day for Cure Childhood Cancer. So
yep. So if you haven't had a chance to donate to this specific charity, you can do so today. But tomorrow we'll have another one too. That's going to be, I'm sure, very helpful for the cost that we're looking to do there. So there it is, guys. There's the low flow meme or GIF or whatever you want to call it. I want to share this with. I'm going to save that one and have it set up as a hot button. That's what we do here for Norm. So there we go. 5 million shares flow. Sounds a bit high. That's a good one. Thank you, guys. All right, so PALT looking very good this morning, guys. Definitely in play, low flow of the day so far. Next, we have OG, and OG is not looking anything good here. Just no volume. Again, the difference between a low flow that's hot and one that's not. Yes, you're up 16%, but doesn't mean anything if you're trading like this with no volume.
OG is not an OG.
OG is not an OG, that's for sure. PRGO here, guys. We've seen this in the past, I believe, gapping up and down. Very high price stock for the way it moves, right? You think a $50 stock will move a little bit more decent at 133 million shares, but it does not. It is very choppy. The volume is very light on this. So this up 15% doesn't do much until we start getting volume. Maybe at the market open, it can get a little bit better. But as of now, it is definitely not a favorite this morning. I'm using the 1 minute.
This is an Irish stock, and it's kind of just, they got an upgrade, and they had a tax issue that they've taken care of, but usually things that are based in Ireland don't trade all that great.
Yep. So thank you, Sack. Yeah, Sack Attack letting me know that I was using the 1 minute. You can use the 1 minute as well, guys. I just like the 5 because it gives you a bigger picture. But even on the 5, this thing does not look good either way. You slice it or dice it. AMTX, another low flow, 25 million. This one is down. Actually, no, it's up 13.5. It's down now from the highs of this pre-market here. Volume 719. Although we got some good volume, we got a nice pop. The pre-market actually is not looking all that great this morning. Very low on the volume too. Today they're doing almost half of what they normally do, a little bit more than that, right? Last big day here was 2.2 million. So maybe today this is definitely higher than usual volume. I mean, we did that whole entire volume yesterday, 719. So just not sure what this means for them. Again, what's the float on this? 25 million. I'm not going to add it on here, guys, but we just need to see better action out of that one. Here's Space. Space has been pretty quiet the last couple of days. This morning they are down up 7.4. 1 million shares traded. Oh, there it is. Okay, it wasn't showing me the daily updated, but they're up right here, 7.4 this morning. 1 million shares traded. Definitely one to look at. Last couple of days have been struggling, nothing but red days the last 4 trading days, losing this area couple of areas of support. You got this big one right here at 25. You have this other one right on here around 24-ish. So right, that's the big level of support. We lost that yesterday. We're gapping up above that this morning. I wonder if that means anything. We'll add Space on here. Any news on Space?
Yeah, so they had that launch, and when they came back down, they kind of deviated from their flight plan. So the FAA was looking into that, and I guess that investigation is cleared up. So they're freed up, I guess, to fly again now.
So they deviated from the flight plan and out of space, where there's other aircrafts that were in danger up there?
No, when they were coming back down.
Oh, they're coming back in. Oh, that's a problem. Yeah, you can't do that. That's for sure. All right,
It's
guys.
not really they got approved to fly. I've heard a couple of people say that approved to fly isn't really correct. It's more like they got their suspension lifted.
Gotcha.
No,
Um,
it's semantics, but
yeah. All right, guys. So Space, it looks good. Ride this morning, they're up 6.8 right now, 292,000 shares traded. Pre-market could be a whole lot better. We know this stock to trade decent in the past, not all the time, but we had a couple of great trades on this one. I think I'm gonna pass on it, guys. So maybe a possible, maybe. Let's do a possible for now. But the
they've got a
pre-market needs to
plant
get
that
better.
they got a plant they're working on selling to Foxconn, so
Mhm.
that's what's moving them this morning. It's
All right, let's see
still
if that's
in my
gonna.
head, it's kind of like a dumpster fire.
Yeah. Let's see if that's gonna do anything. We'll put it as a possible for now. Again, pre-market needs to look a lot better. All right, let's stop here. We have Mara. I don't see any of the other Bitcoin stock, but we do have Mara here, and they're up 6%. Not great volume. Could be a good possible this morning. We'll see where that goes. I know the Bitcoin has been getting beat up a little bit the last couple of days, so maybe today they're looking for a bounce play here. All right, we'll stop here. We'll look at LSIP because we know how active this thing can be. They're up 2.4 with 828,000. Yeah, I think this could be a good one to watch and play today. Let's see what's gapping down, guys. BBBY. Nice drop here, 25% this morning, 3 million shares traded. This is definitely in play. Norm, who screwed up? Who's getting fired this morning on BBBY?
Well, as you know, and we've discussed, they have been on a little bit of they've been a turnaround story kind of stock, and they've risen, from $5 at the
Way
bottom
back.
of the COVID mess in spring of 2020, all the way up, and then they memed a little bit in there too, all the way up above 50, and they are pulling back. They had earnings this morning, and they were no bueno compared to what's been going on in the past. So it's a little bit of a damper on that turnaround story.
Yeah, so guys, a big drop for them this morning. They're down 3.1. We do have shares for short on this one. Yeah, definitely in play, guys. Adding this one to the list right now. It's just on a free fall at the moment. Hopefully it doesn't get too extended,
The only thing I mentioned this, and
Yeah.
this isn't giving me a bias, so please don't take it that way. But if I'm taking this definitely is chart's weak as hell, right? I mean, like, just nasty. It's been a meme stock in the past, and it's still got a high short float. TI has it at 45%. That number would have been from September 15th, or if that was a weekend, the Friday before. So that concerns me a little bit. If you take a short, looks like the direction it's going. Does Wall Street bets or something like that creep in and start trying to squeeze it? That's my only thought. So be careful. It can trade great, but just I got that in the back of my head for myself.
Yeah, I don't blame you. 100% agree with you there, guys. Again, that's why when it gets to extend, it could be a little bit tricky here. They're down 25%, and it's a price target that a lot of people in Wall Street bet likes. They like this lower price stock because it's easier to get the multitudes to come in on this. So careful on that one. BTBT this morning down 18% today. So this is a Bitcoin, right? So some of the Bitcoin stuff
Yes.
is up, but they're down. Any specific news to them? It's a big drop for them this morning. BTBT. I'm going to put them on here 'cause that's interesting.
Yeah, they're diluting their shares. They got an $80 million private placement, which is essentially an investment in the company. It's dilutive.
Okay. I don't think I ever traded something like that. I actually traded very good. That type of catalyst. I don't recall. So I'll put it as a possible for now.
It's
I'm not
on
sure if you
par
ever
with the
traded.
secondary. It's just
Yeah, right?
technically a secondary in the way we discuss it.
Right. Pre-market looks very good though right now, even though with that catalyst, so it could turn to something, but I'm gonna put it as a possible for now. BLTA, they are down 16%, guys, 124,000. We need more volume out of this. Not a low flow stock, but the daily looks very bad on this. They barely get any volume. Again, they got this one drop, but it's just no action at the moment. KMX. Today we had this. Is this CarMax, right? CarMax, yeah. It trades really bad, guys.
It's terrible. They had earnings this morning, but it trades like garbage intraday.
Yeah. So again, yes, we have the drop. We have okay volume for this type of stock at $134, but it is a brutal stock to trade. I think I'm not gonna watch this one today. Kohl's, I definitely like Kohl's. They're down 7% this morning. This is one of the retail companies that actually trades. I think out of all of them, they're on the top as far as good trading, intraday trading. So
Yeah,
they're decent. Yeah. So compared to like the Macy's and Gap and all the other stuff, they're on the better side of things. So
they got a double downgrade out of B of A Securities, which they went from buy to sell essentially with a $48 price target. So
double
that's what's
downgrade,
getting them this
not
morning.
good. That's for sure. Down 7%, guys. 218,000 pre-market, very active right now. Losing some areas of support, trying to hold on to this area of support here on the daily, guys. You can see that. It's no question why we're struggling right on here, right? We're trying to hold on to this area where we had amazing support in the past. Look at this consolidation and broke out of that. So we'll see if that's able to happen here. Right now, I think they're pretty good this morning to keep an eye on. TGNA, no good, no bueno. Let's get on to Macy's. Macy's is down 2.4, 206,000 shares traded right now. Is this also news on these guys or anything coming out on Macy's?
Macy's, sorry.
Or maybe sympathy play with Kohl's, which I doubt.
I haven't looked into this one, but it has. I haven't seen anything that's extremely interesting. So
okay, interesting. We'll put it as a positive for now. They don't have anything, but I know these guys again. Macy's, Kohl's, they don't move unless there's something going on, right?
Macy's especially. Kohl's tends to move a little bit more, a little bit better, but
yeah, we'll put it as a possible, guys, since we don't have anything concrete right now, and we can always check later, see that it comes up out of the woods there. All right, that is what we have right now, guys. Norm, anything you like on your end this morning?
Still looking, dude.
All right, excellent. Let's take it to the room, guys. Let's start over here with who do we have? Let's start with, what do I see here? They're going down. Chris, we have Coles. That's good. Steve, let's start with Steve. You're giving us SoFi this morning. SoFi was decent yesterday, gave you a nice move, and then also a nice drop if you were looking for a short there. As of today, possible continuation. They got the volume. The pre-market is not looking great, but they definitely have the volume, and I do like the daily. We're back at this area where we have support and resistance. Are we looking to lose this and continue on this downtrend we had the last couple of days? Yes, it was a good indication this stock is not looking to bounce. I mean, look at this. Opens up, slams up to 1725, and then it closes red. So that could be a very nice, interesting move there on SoFi. We'll add it on here. It's probably more of a possible that pre-market action's got to get a little bit better. Not that it was great yesterday, by the way. I think today we just have other stuff that looks slightly better than that one does right now. What else? NVIDIA, Macy's we have, that's good. CEI, I think we looked at this before. I did not like the way this thing was dancing around, so I'm gonna skip on this one, guys. Again, just these lower price stock
more of a swing
funky.
than I know Brian was swinging that. I don't know if he's still in it or not, but not really something I want to day trade.
Agree. NVIDIA, guys, again, you could watch NVIDIA. I prefer to watch Apple. I think Apple's just going to give you, and I know they're not a semi stock, but the overall tech sector, I think Apple's the better trading stock with volume right now. So I'd rather keep an eye on that one. I'm going to put that one as a possible. I think our main list right now does look pretty interesting. At the moment, we'll see if that changes. Facebook, Microsoft, all good stocks you can watch, guys. Again, I don't think they're in play individually right now. I think just if you look at them, they're pretty much moving the same. If you look at their daily and pre-market, you don't see anything different. Apple is a little bit different than others, right? They got more volume, but outside of that, I don't think they're individually in play. If you want to look at the tech sector, these are great stocks to look at. I'm going to wait for them to hit the scanners, and I know other people will be watching this, so you guys will call it up if anything's happening. PALT, yeah, we have that one, and oh man, look at this. It's moving, guys, breaking through 1040 there, the high of the pre-market at that point, and now we're up to 1120. So if you're in that, you're having a whole lot of fun this morning. GROM. As of now, no, it does have some potential here, but look at the difference in this pre-market action and the action that we're getting from PALT, right? The action here, you can see the volume pushing northeast. On GROM, yes, you had a big day yesterday, very similar. But the volume right now, you're getting great volume, but you're not pushing up. Volume is actually pushing down. If you look at this 327, that's a down candle there. So that's 8 o'clock, so that's maybe a transaction being recorded. But for the most part, you're not getting a great pre-market action right now. That could change later down the line, but right now I think we have to skip on that one. BBBY, we do have guys all continues to lose 16 here now. This thing is on a free fall, which is not great for Norm and I when we get on later for the pre-market open, because it might be too extended. You gotta be careful with.
It's one of those that it's run so much by the time the market opens, you're like,
might be too extended to jump on that. AMTX here, guys. Yeah, we looked at this. I don't know. I'm not a fan of it right now. The pop, the drop, and now he's just kind of moving sideways. Good volume, up 14%. I'm just concerned with what kind of price action you're going to get here. Let's remind ourselves, what was the float on this? AMTX 25. So it's a lower flow stock. We need a better pre-market action. We need a PALT type pre-market action. We're not getting that from them right now. That could get better, but at the moment, I think that they could do a little bit better than that. BBBY, we have Facebook. We did look at Facebook already. Again, you can watch this one. I don't think they're in play at the moment. Very light volume. But, you know, at the market open, they will get the volume. It's just, are they going to be trading in any type of direction that is suitable for your trade book there? All right, let's get over to our YouTube chat. We have SoFi we looked at. We actually did add it to our possibles list. They got great volume. They're losing the previous day close. I do like this one. Might move this one up. But again, I'm trying to stick to 4 just on our main watch list, kind of fine tune things a little bit. I think we're doing a pretty good job. We did it yesterday, and today we might be able to do that again. Tesla yesterday was very good. This morning, what do we have going on? Yeah, Tesla's daily is interesting, man. We continue to do higher lows here, and we're just consolidating now at this 780. So we'll see. Right now we're kind of squeezing into a point here, so we'll have to see which way we're going to break out from. So yeah, I think it's interesting on the daily. As far as today, I don't see as great volume as we saw yesterday. Yesterday's pre-market action had tons of volume. Right now we do not. We might have to wait for this one to hit the scanners or to get a little bit more volume going there. BLIN, what is this? All right, this thing is starting to get going here, up 27%. BLIN, the float on this 8 million shares float. Getting very active, guys. Yeah, we could take a closer look at this one. Let's see how that's going to continue. 2.1 million shares right now, so it's definitely
a catalyst. They got a partnership with Salesforce.
Oh, Salesforce. Okay, that could be decent for them this morning. Again, they definitely got some good activity right now, so worth watching. This is also better, guys, than that other one, GROM. Again, it's just not getting that movement here like you are with BLIN and also PALT, which is looking to break 1140, 1133, high of the pre-market right now. AMC, anything going on there? It's been quiet lately, AMC. Let's see if our charts will load. There we go. AMC, actually the daily does not look that quiet. Let's take a look at how it did yesterday here. I had a nice drop yesterday. Actually, this traded very well yesterday, guys. Got top of here, got a kind of a double top happening there. And then just look at the drop there below the VWAP to the low of the pre-market. Yeah, that's traded very well yesterday. Possible continuation today, guys. The last couple of days have
nice
not
head
been
and shoulders at the open on AMC.
Yeah, right. So yeah, I think this is looking good, guys. Also, we're right at this area of support as well. If we lose that, we can definitely dive a little bit lower there. Yeah, it's kind of like AFC today. Let's keep an eye on these guys here. 544,000 shares traded. Not bad, not bad. All right, guys, let's stop here. We'll go over to our community announcements. I'll do one more, Joshua, for you. We'll do Netflix. What's going on with Netflix? Good day yesterday. Their daily looks interesting for a possible breakout at 610. But outside of that, their pre-market action is pretty quiet. But again, with Netflix, guys, you can't go by their pre-market action because this right here doesn't mean much. I mean, look at this pre-market action yesterday. They had a great day. So it's one of these stocks that if you like to trade it, you can watch it all the time, and you can catch one of these great moves when that is scheduled to happen for that morning. But their daily does look very interesting, though. I do have to say that. Maybe a possible for Netflix. But again, this is one of those stocks that you have to wait for the market open. All right. Thank you guys. If you haven't done so already, hit that thumbs up over on YouTube. It does help us out a whole lot, and we
Much
appreciate it
appreciated.
very, very, very much. Let's get over to our community announcements. We'll come back and continue to fine tune this list.
All right. Kyle's part 2 risk management DAS hotkey webinar is posted. Next week, we've got Peter and Jared. That'll be Tuesday at 8 p.m. Psychology, module 4 from Mike will be posted soon if it's not already. That was mindfulness during trading last night. And then next week, Wednesday, 8 p.m. Eastern, we will have Dr. Kenneth Reed talking about 7 consistency killers. As I mentioned, this is the last day to donate for this month's BBT Family Charity of the Month, which is Cure Childhood Cancer. All Super Chat, Super Sticker revenue will be matched dollar for dollar by Andrew. Also, on the BBT Giving page on our site and donated to Cure Childhood Cancer. I will unveil the charity for next month tomorrow. If you want to participate in the member trade of the day, trade of the week, take a screenshot of your best trade with entries and exits, add as much commentary as you can to describe the trade, post it on Twitter, tag at Bear Bull Traders, at MikeB_BBT, and at NormBBT. Also use the hashtags BBT Family, Day Trading, and Stock Market. We'll pick a winner each day from all those posted and announce on Twitter and in the room. And then all those trades of the day are eligible for trade of the week, which will be voted on by the team over the weekend and announced on Monday. If you're watching on, nope, we're doing this again. There's a glitch in the matrix, my friend.
There is a glitch.
This is like a watch list from 1982 or something. I don't know what's going on. This isn't even.
What is on
this
there?
isn't any time
Twitter?
recent. Yeah. Well, Overstock. I can't even remember the last time we discussed Overstock. All right, if you're watching on Twitter, if you're watching on YouTube, haven't been in the room, you can go to bearbulltraders.com. Scroll down the page about halfway. You'll see that test drive button. That'll give you access for 1 week to the chat room and the live onboarding and tech sessions every Monday night. Just click that test drive now. Enter the promo code premarket24, and it'll get discounted down to $24. And that it'll only charge you once. It doesn't auto renew or repeat or anything like that. Also, if you are looking to become an elite member and get access to all the awesome webinars we've been discussing, use the promo code FALL40. It'll get you 40% off.
All right. Thank you very much. Let's get to it here, guys. So now we are going to bring in our watch list. Here we go. All right, cool. Let's take a look at what we have, guys. Space this morning.
John's confirming. He says, if I had Twitter, that stuff is old AF. Abercrombie
Yes.
Fitch, I guess, is what he's saying there.
Yes. So that screen was something we had to do manually. My nephew was doing that for some time, and then he went back to school. So we'll get back to it because it's a very neat screen when it's updated.
When it's not a year old.
When it's not a year old. Here's Space, guys. Again, very active this morning. Had a great pop last night. We'll see where this takes us. It has 1 million shares traded. It is up 7.1. I think it deserves to be on our list this morning, pushing down towards some of these highs and lows from the last 2 trading days at the moment. We'll see where that takes us. LSIT, guys, starting to break out from the pre-market highs. This is looking very good. Remember, they had news yesterday or the day before about their car being released on October or November. Don't remember the exact dates. Don't quote me or month. But they're looking pretty good right now. 1.2 million, breaking out of 27. Definitely like what I'm seeing there. BBBY, it just might not be tradable by the time I get to the open on this one. It is very, very extended. And what happens is when you get so extended like this, if a stock is weak and there's just no more sellers left and nobody wants to buy it here, it just might go sideways for the first hour or so until they decide what they want to do. Now, if it's a very weak stock, we'll be looking for a rising devil on this, right? Kind of gets to the VWAP and then slam down back towards the lows of the pre-market. But the range already on this has kind of been messed up a little bit. So don't go in there with a short buy. It's getting in short at the market open when you could possibly have a squeeze, people covering a little bit here towards that VWAP. So you just got to be very, very careful. And then don't trust that pop to the VWAP 100% because there people might be thinking of going short. So it gets a little bit messy once you get so extended above 20%, 28%. So just be mindful of that. This might be a good one if you have to wait probably 15, even 20 minutes. Let it settle down. It's got the volume today, so it's going to be in play. After 20, 30 minutes, you might find a really, really good opportunity. But definitely in play, keeping this one on our list. Coles this morning, I think, is also very good. Now, unlike BBBY, this is only dropped 7.4, and you have a little bit of a base here happening of 49.50. So this looks good. It still has room to go even further down or to get a little bit of a pop here. So I like that one very much. AMC here is trying to get into the green area. They do have great volume this morning at a 586. So I like that one as well. Some possibles here. Let's see this. Anything that looks better than what we just looked at. We have 5. Let's see if anything looks better than what we looked at this morning. Here's Macy's. I think Macy's looks pretty decent. Dropping down here some more. Ride at the moment doesn't look good. I think I'm going to remove Ride completely out of the list. Mara is gapping up 4.7. I don't think they're really in play. Volume is 195, which is not bad, but it's not great for Mara. So we'll get her off the list for now. BTVT, on the other hand, they have their own catalyst here, as Norm mentioned earlier. This could trade well, cannot. We'll have to wait and see how that action is going to play out at the market open. It might just be completely choppy, but I like the volume we're seeing there. We're down 18% on that one. Apple is a good one just to watch overall. We'll keep that one on here. And Netflix is just it's just being Netflix right now. Not a whole lot you can go by in the pre-market, but their daily does look good for a possible break of some highs here. And we're talking about all-time highs as well, right? Let's go back over here. Yeah, we're talking about some all-time highs here around above 613 or so. So that could be something there. All right, let's get some levels in place, guys. Let's start with space here. Right now, you're surrounded by the highs and lows of the last 2 trading days. We're going to slam a level here at 24. That is your low of your pre-market at the moment, and that is looking to create some kind of support as we're trying to bounce from that right now. We tested it a couple of times already after 8 a.m. This morning. Towards the bottom, guys, highs and lows from the last 2 trading days. You're pretty good and set up here, your cover. And those highs and lows are hitting some pretty good levels, right? You got this area of support happening here. Your highs from yesterday's hitting that. You got the previous day close. You got the low from yesterday. So a lot going on there that's taking care of those levels for you. Even the high of the pre-market today is an area where we probably would have marked down a daily level anyways. I mean, look at where that thing is being marked right at 25. Whole dollar number, of course, going to have some action on these lower price stocks. You can see the support you're getting here a couple of times. A lot of touches over on that 25. And once you look towards the top here, you're seeing 25.80-ish. There's a lot of touches on there as well. A lot of days opening and closing right around that area, guys, on this daily level. So you got a whole lot going on there. I think you're pretty much set towards the top and bottom. I mean, this thing is looking rather active right now, giving some back this morning. Still up 7%. Remember, guys, this thing's been red the last 4 days. Nothing but red. Today we're getting a nice little pop here. Are we going to try to continue this into some strength here, or are we sliding right back down towards this 2350-ish area? Here's LSIT. LSIT is doing a very nice move. I'm going to mark down this previous pre-market level here on 26.97. The reason for that is because you saw the resistance you kept having here. Yes, with lighter volume, right? Not a whole lot of volume, but it just kept slamming up against this. Comes back down to 26.60, which is a little bit higher than the low of the pre-market, but I like this level better than this low of the pre-market. If I had a chance to choose which level I'm going to put more weight on, this 26.60 is a lot more interesting than this little guy over here, not doing a whole lot, right? This thing got tested a few times with volume. I'd rather have that on my level as far as the daily. So 26.60 is the one that I'm going to be looking for. Low of the pre-market is not far off. It's 26.50, but this is the one that I'm going to be paying attention to if we do decide to go back down. Then we come back up to this 26.92, and look at the breakout there, right? After a few times of struggling, we take a little dive here, come back up and break out of that nicely. High of the pre-market right now, which looks like it might not stay there for long, is 27.20. So we'll slam a level there. And then above that, guys, you do have the highs from yesterday all the way up here at 28.50. In between here, do we have a good, around 27.76? I'm going to take this one. Now you're asking, why did I take this one instead of this one? Well, this one is closer to the price action, right? This was slightly further away from the price action. So I'm going to take the one that's closer to the price action. They're both really good levels. You can't go wrong with either one, but I'm going to take this one here as it's closer to the action at the moment, by a little bit, not a whole lot, but just by a little bit there. BBBY, guys, continues to drop here. Let's zoom out on the big picture this morning, and low of the pre-market, we are sitting at a 15.75. So we'll slam a level right on there, and then we have not been down here in quite some time. I mean, we're looking at October, September of last year. So Slamming in here, we do have a nice gap here. We 18. We have no action in 18 here, so it's just nothing happening here. There's no levels at all as far as from now, October of last year, all the way until now, right? There's nothing in there as far as levels. We're gonna put 17. Obviously, 17, the whole dollar is gonna have some kind of effect. So we'll put on 17 there just to have that in place. This morning, you can see around 17, right? You got some action happening there because there's nothing else to go by in the most in the recent times in here. Towards the bottom, guys, if we were to continue to lose here, 14.28 has a level there. Down here on the daily, we do have 12.95. I don't think we'll get there unless this thing is really that weak. Again, we're down almost 30% already, so I don't know how much downside we have left on this. Towards the top, as I mentioned before, this is the bottom of this, the top of this gap up that we had, 18. So we got this level from right here. Let's zoom in a little bit. That's a little far out. Let's zoom into this right here. This is the bottom of that, and that has been tested a couple of times. There's a very good, strong level of support here between October and December, right? All this support is happening right on there. So you're going to have that on there. People are going to be looking at that. It sticks out like a sore thumb. And then 1951 is another level. I know that might be difficult to see on the screen, but if you zoom in here, 1951, you can see here another great area of support and resistance as well, and this is your 18 level here, also playing very nice support there. So people ask me, how far back can you go on your levels? I go 2-3 years for time sometimes, no problem, you know, and you'll be surprised how great those levels are going to interact here, because if anyone is looking for daily levels, they're going to go back and look at those levels, right? Because that's the only thing you have left there. So that's BBBY, guys. Amazing volume, just very extended. So just be careful on that one. Here is Coase. Coase looking to lose the low of the pre-market over at a 49.26. So again, this one only down 8%. I think we have a little more room towards the downside on this one. Very weak this morning. Another great level here on 51.13. Remember, guys, these things are an area. You can see here all the ping pong action happening here. This was happening around what, June? What is it, July? What do we have here? July, August, right? Just the ping pong action here, back and forth there, creating those two great levels. So you have 49.31, which we're trying to hold now. If we were to dip lower here, we're looking at 48.68, and then all the way down here around 47.04. Same thing here, guys, right? We got these two levels on here. I'm going to pick the one that's closer to the price action instead of this one down here, right? 47.04. All right, towards the top, guys, we do have 51.13, and then slightly above that we do have another level, not as great as that 48 level that we just showed earlier, but this 52.42, it's a couple of days slamming into this, right? So that could have a little play this morning, depending if things decide to turn around here and head northeast there. Here's AMC, guys, trying to get into the green. Well, made it to the green. Let's see if it can actually stay there. Towards the top, you're pretty much all set there, guys. Highs and lows from the last two trading days, and price right now right at the previous day close line. Your market low, pre-market low this morning, 35.11. We'll slam that in there as well. And then let's get some levels off the daily here. Love this one, 33.64, 73 is a good one, 31.87, and then all the way down here. So it's very clean levels on AMC here. Their daily has been pretty nice, man. Pretty easy to predict where these levels are sitting at on AMC. So that is nice there. All right, cool, guys. That is what we have. We have Space looking pretty good. We have LCIT very active this morning. BBBY looking to hold here a little bit. Coase looking to hold also. Let's see if it's going to do that. And we also have AMC going into the green. Low flows for today. We have BLIN giving some back a little bit, trying to stay above the VWAP. PALT a hit. What is this thing here? 1131. 1133, it's just coming back down to some moving averages. Great volume. This thing had a monster day yesterday, hitting again from 550. What was that? 550. Couple of halting here, as you can see, all the way to 15. Man, this thing was just wild. So today they're looking to try to repeat some of that action. Definitely some great volume this morning on PALT so far. All right, let's take a look at our moderators lineup. Let's see what we have going on here, guys. Please make sure to hit that thumbs up as I resize this thing over here and bring it over. It helps us out a whole lot over on YouTube, and we appreciate it very, very, very much. So let's bring this here. What do we have? Resize that. Move this over here. Let me turn off this video so you guys don't get the mirror effect. And we are set to go. All right, so Here we
Before
go.
you jump into that, dude,
Yeah.
check out AMD. News dropped just a few minutes ago,
Hmm.
9 a.m. Eastern, and it's starting to move. So that could be one to add. We'll see how it plays out.
Definitely going to add AMD on here, guys. Got some volume coming in, some good movement there. We'll take a look at it in just a sec, see how that's going to play out. All right, here we go, guys. We have, let's take a look here. Let's scroll up. Where do we start? We have, okay, here it is. Peter, some IPOs coming out for today, some SPACs. You can see those right on there. Next, we have Simon. He's looking at Twitter, Airbnb, Oracle, and BA this morning. Thor likes to spy, Space, BBBY, DLTR, MU, and COS. Not loving a whole lot this morning, but that usually changes. I agree with that. Mike is looking at Tesla, Netflix, and also looking at Netflix for the all-time high. So that's interesting daily on Netflix. We have that on our possible as well. Jared's looking at the Bitcoin stocks, AMD, Space, and the overall SPY and QQs as well. Dima, she likes Apple, SoFi, and Space. Tiffany's looking at LSIT in Space, might not trade, traveling at the moment, so nice. Jared, LSIT, adding LSIT to his list. John's looking at Netflix and AMD and scanners there. And then Peter, his watch list, AMD, Space, LSIT, BBBY, Macy's, and PALT. PALT being a low flow, guys, so be very, very careful. So what's the news on AMD? What's the latest and greatest on these guys? Let's see here.
Partnership and/or collaboration with Google just dropped at 9 a.m. Eastern.
Oh, okay. That is definitely great news. Once you get tied up with these giants, man, Google, that's good news for them. So, right now they're definitely doing good. Going to add them to our list. As far as levels, you're kind of between the highs and lows right now from the last two trading days. Let's get us some levels towards the top here. Right over here, we see a couple of touches around 104.82. Again, not the best level. This daily's a little messy, but overall 104.82 is good. And then you had the 110 here from 2 days ago's high. So I think that's pretty good for right now. So there's AMD. Definitely going to be adding that one onto the list, guys. Looking very active. We're looking to get going, and that's a great catalyst. So we have to see how that is going to play out as well. So, all right, guys, that is what we have so far. Over on YouTube, thank you so much. If you want to try out the rule, remember you got the pre-market 24. You can try us out for a whole week. Look at the live trading, the entire moderators coming on throughout the entire day, just having our market talk there. So definitely try it out. See if this is the right environment for you. We'd love to have you here and check the room out. So I think we're all set. Brian, and I'm not sure if Andrew, his trial, was able to get on today, but definitely Brian is going to be on. Either Thor or Andrew will join us this morning. We will see you guys in the chat room. We're going to transition over to the chat. You guys will be able to see what our chat room looks like. And if you do the pre-market 24, you can join us there for a whole week. So we'd love to have you guys. Norm, anything else I might have missed?
That's all I got, brother.
All right.
Other than I won't be here tomorrow, so have a great weekend, guys.
Yeah. DATS. Let's take a look at DATS. I see Brian has it on his list, and somebody asked me to take a look at this. I mean, they're starting to get going now. They have not done much. Probably why we didn't look at it earlier. They got 888,000 shares traded. What's the float on this bad boy? What do we have here? DATS. I'm not getting a float for this. What is this?
11 million.
How much?
11
million. So low stock. Okay. Low flow. All right, we'll put it on here.
Dat chat. What is that? Is that like a social media for Saints fans or what?
I have no idea what this is. We'll put it on here. Let's see where it gets going.
Jared, are you on that?
Yeah, right. So we'll see what's going on there. But definitely PALT is the one got it going on right now. Lynn right here. We'll see where that goes as well. Brian's coming in with his list. LSID, AMD, Space, BBBY, COS, and DATS as well. So that is what we have there. All right, perfect, guys. Let me transition over to our chat room. We'll keep it on for a bit so you guys can see the preparation that takes place in our chat before the market open. And guys, we will see you tomorrow at 8 a.m. starting with Engineering the Markets with Jared over on YouTube, and then followed by myself and probably we'll see who comes. Probably Peter, because Thor is covering for Andrew at the open. So probably myself and Peter will be here at the market open, the pre-market show tomorrow. So Norm, enjoy your weekend.
Andrew's signed in, so I'm guessing he's going to be here. Yep.
Sweet. So Andrew signed in. He'll be joining us shortly, guys. Guys, take care over on YouTube. Thank you so much for the support and that thumbs up. Appreciate you guys very much. We'll see you tomorrow.
Take care, guys. Trade safe.
Hey, good morning, everybody. Hello, testing. Here we go. All right. Yeah, exactly. Is this thing on? It wasn't, speech thing wasn't moving there for a second. It is now. So, let's see, Andrew's trying to get on here. Oh, KSS just took a big drop. The memes start coming. What's going on? IWM just keeps sinking here. Looks like the markets, I'm going to guess the markets are going to go red on the day. Yeah, I'm just looking at some of the stuff I've got on watch right now. Still got 10 minutes to the open. And AMD is dropping, rolling over here. We're probably just going to have to wait for a few minutes once we hit the open, just to see what kind of direction we're getting. Oh, KSS came right back up. All right. Yeah, Apple's holding on there. It's just that 142.50 level that I've been talking about in the videos. 142, 142.50 just seems to have buyers there right now. We'll see if that still holds up today. Yeah, KSS really looks weak here. I think I'm more interested in that one than Bed Bath and Beyond right now. What's the Short interest on KSS, 8%. Versus Bed Bath & Beyond, which is 45. Yeah, 14-cent spread right now on it. CEI still in play here, eh? It could. I mean, BBBY could squeeze, but I don't know. That's the thing about high short float. They do tend to be a little bit more unpredictable and a little more volatile. You just don't know when shorts are going to step in and cover. Yeah, I know rides. I don't know. I am watching. I do have it on a watch list here for Lightspeed. So the market's kind of interesting right now. There's all sorts of weird stuff going on with the supply chains. Some warnings coming out this morning about that. LSID still looks strong. And do we still have 1,000 shares for short on CEI? Kept saying 1,000 shares yesterday. I actually got a short on it once. It says symbol is not shortable now.